The Honourable Prime Minister, Rear Admiral Josiah Rama, to all the permanent secretaries, representatives of the Australian business community, ladies and gentlemen, Bolo Minaka, and a very good morning to all of you. Before I commence my speech, I must say something about my old school, the one that was referred to as Little. I'm very proud to say that our head of state, the president, is from Natambua. Thank you, Prime Minister. I think I'm going to be fired tomorrow morning. As you can see, ladies and gentlemen, we have a lot of jousting that goes on between us. But very proud to be a Natambua, ex-Natambua student, for those of you that are ex-Natambua. Once again, welcome you all to Fiji's Trade and Investment Symposium. As you're all aware, the theme for today's symposium is Build Fiji into Your Business Strategy. Ladies and gentlemen, in the various sessions today, you will hear from the investment agencies and investors who have invested in Fiji and reasons why Fiji should be your investment destination. The total investments in Fiji has been on an upward trajectory and continues to contribute about 25% and above towards the Fijian GDP. And it is even more promising to note that private investments is increasingly becoming the key contributor to total investments. In 2015 alone, private investments comprised about 20% of the GDP, or about 80% of total investments. Furthermore, the widespread incentives and initiatives that the Fijian government has in place, a large portion of foreign investment has been in the tourism and hospitality sector. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is due to the stable and sustainable and pro-growth policies and initiatives of the Fijian government. We have managed to ensure continued positive growth of the Fijian economy and renewed enthusiasm in Fijians to be part of the growth. The government recognizes that private sector investment is critical to sustainable growth. And therefore, government is committed to modernizing our infrastructure and providing a conducive environment that contributes to a competitive, robust, and resilient private sector. Now, over the past 7 years, ladies and gentlemen, Fiji has experienced one of its longest periods of sustained growth with an impressive growth rate of a 4% average. And despite the negative impact of Cyclone Winston and flooding experienced in April, Fiji has been able to maintain a positive trajectory in economic growth. And the recently released figures endorsed by the Asian Development Bank indicates that the Fijian economy will grow by close to 3% this year, as alluded to by the Honourable Prime Minister. This has been a remarkable achievement for Fiji given the global growth trend, which is continually revised downwards. Ladies and gentlemen, the government will continue with its strategic investment in infrastructure development and upgrading work in the next few years, such as upgrading work currently being undertaken at the airports, and expansion of our seaports, or introduction of cutting-edge information and communication technology. The recently launched digital television was also a classic example. Now, with respect to Australia and Fiji have a long-standing trade and investment, people-to-people links. And up to 50,000 Fijians live and work in Australia, and with most of them here in Sydney, and over 300,000 Australians visiting Fiji each year. Australia is Fiji's key trading and commercial partner in the region and is a key foreign investor in Fiji. And in terms of bilateral economic relations, we have witnessed steady trade and investment flows over the last 5 years. And a two-way merchandise trade between the countries in 2015 stood at about 956 million Fiji dollars. In terms of investment, for the period of 2009 to 2014, a total of 226 Australian projects worth Fijian $1.1 billion were registered in Fiji. And at the same time, a total of 99 Australian projects worth about $198.6 million were implemented. Our tourism industry is currently the most significant among Fiji's international trade services sector. And earnings from our tourism industry were 1.56 billion Fijian, which exceeded Fiji's total domestic goods exports of 1.2 billion Fijian. In fact, 2015 alone, the total contribution to Fiji's gross domestic product stood at about 2.94 billion Fiji dollars. We've been experiencing exceptional growth in visitor arrivals and the numbers over the past 5 years, and even better results in tourism earnings. And we've achieved a record high of about 754,835 visitor arrivals in 2015, which is a 9% increase over the past year. The total visitor expenditure was also increased by 11% in 2015, which comes to 1.56 Fiji billion dollars. Despite our vulnerability to natural disasters, our industry has been resilient, and we expect similar results in arrivals and expenditure this year. Australia and New Zealand are our primary source markets for tourism, making up about 67% of our total arrivals, followed by other markets such as US, UK, Europe, China, and India. With respect to the ICT industry, ladies and gentlemen, Fiji's potential in the ICT sector was recognized by the Fijian government a long time ago. With the early recognition, the government was able to put into place the right framework and policies to encourage sustained growth of the sector and attract large multinational ICT companies. Today, Fiji has managed to secure its position in attracting some renowned ICT investors to locate their back office operations in the country, such as ANZ, Superhub, Centacom, Pack Leader, and Mindpearl, to name a few, which have created over 3,000 direct jobs in the sector. In 2014, Fiji won the European Outsourcing Association's Offshoring Destination of the Year award, acknowledging its successful service to the UK and other European outsourcing markets, thanks to excellent service provided by Mindpearl. The government, ladies and gentlemen, is aiming to increase these figures to more than about 15,000 people once the International Business Park being developed by Lyndhurst and the government's Manufacturing and Services Zone, an initiative which was announced in the 2016-2017 budget and is expected to be fully operational in the next few years. Fiji is well positioned to attract ICT investments, starting from the lower end and moving up the value chain. And the current ICT business types in Fiji include call centers, mail management, data voucher processing, telehosting, warehousing and software development, audiovisual and disaster recovery management systems. The government is currently developing an e-commerce bill to ensure that interests of suppliers and buyers engaged in transactions over the internet are adequately protected. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to give you a snapshot of what Fiji can offer you, or your investment in the ICT sector. First of all, Fiji has a good English-speaking workforce, as we have 93% literacy rate, and secondly, with Fiji being the hub of the Pacific, Fiji has become the easiest and most cost-effective place to do business in the Pacific. And thirdly, Fiji has a service-oriented culture and pro-business with consumer policies and legislations in place. And in addition, Fiji is located in a convenient time zone and has world-class IT infrastructure. With the recent launch of 4G Plus network, Fiji is one of the premier countries in the region to introduce 4G Plus. The manufacturing and services zone that is currently being built in the Western Division will focus on the ICT and light manufacturing industries sector, and preparatory work for this zone is already underway. The project will build on the success achieved by the international companies such as ANZ and Mindpearl, based at Kalambu tax-free zone and elsewhere in Fiji. Ladies and gentlemen, on the tourism front, the Fijian government has set an ambitious target of creating a $2 billion industry by the end of 2020. My ministry is on the final stages of completing a tourism plan that will set the guidelines for development in the industry. And our vision is to encourage innovation, new investment and effective collaboration between the government and the private sector for both existing tourism operators and potential investors. And that identifies viable business opportunities and turn them into real ventures with the legal and policy framework of Fiji. We have streamlined our focus towards increasing yield from the tourism industry instead of volume, and has established appropriate strategies to achieve this. We're working to position Fiji as the hub of tourism in the Pacific that offers you a uniquely branded, differentiated, and a must experience value for money products to our domestic and international markets. Key objectives are to grow direct visitor spend by about $298 million per annum and increase our total output by about 507 million Fijian dollars, increase direct tourism value add by about 79 million, and create additional jobs, about 9,000 odd jobs, and in turn increase tourism earnings by about 7.11% per annum. Marketing efforts through our current brand, Fiji Where Happiness Finds You, will continue to focus on the Australian market, and connectivity to our tourism sector, tourism source markets have never been better with our national airline, Fiji Airways, flying direct to most of our source markets and continuously increasing the number of flights. With a new direct route to Singapore, we are also now more accessible to our long-haul markets of UK, Europe, India, and the rest of Asia. Our tourist arrivals are seasonal, with the peak season from June to October and low season from November to May, which results in fluctuating levels of occupancy throughout the year. Whilst our occupancy rates have been steadily increasing over the past 5 years, our visitor arrival numbers have been growing at a faster rate of about 4.3% per annum. In addition, the accommodation capacity has been growing at about 1% per annum. Hence, there is potential to develop more properties in Fiji, specifically within the areas such as zones, the tax-free regions such as Vanuatu and the Suncoast region in Vitilevu, our second largest island. Vanuatu, as I said, and other smaller islands, little islands around the country. And to ensure a steady supply of visitors to Fiji during our off-peak seasons, the Fijian government has invested heavily towards specific niche markets such as sports and MICE tourism. Fiji International Golf Tournament, that some of you may have witnessed or played in, for example, is a major initiative that was taken by the government in partnership with the PGA of Australasia to position Fiji as a golf and sports tourism destination. There are opportunities to invest in an anchor attraction in our tourism center, Nandi, and high-end retail experiences with international brands, a theme park, and many other activities to support these niche markets and increase the tourism spend. Ladies and gentlemen, Fiji offers a vast range of activities and attractions, but many of these are not being utilized to its full potential. The government has prioritized the development of our natural sites to encourage use of these sites for tourism purposes and invest in activities that will enhance the visitor experience and maximize yield for our tourism market. We also have the best tax exemption incentives in the region, with the lowest corporate taxes, streamlined income tax, and the ability to get a maximum of 20 years tax-free status depending on the investment amount in selected regions. These are some of the many reasons, ladies and gentlemen, why you're sitting in the right place today, apart from wanting to be happy. Fiji is open for business, as the Honourable Prime Minister has said, and we stand ready to provide assistance to enable you to venture successfully in your business aspirations in Fiji. Ladies and gentlemen, I think the bottom line is that Fiji and Australia are natural trading partners, and we can work together to reach the full potential of our relationship, and we look forward to an even closer engagement, particularly engagement driven by growing investment and trade between our two countries. Over the course of the day, ladies and gentlemen, you'll be provided with in-depth information on investment opportunities and incentives in the ICT and tourism sectors. And you'll also hear from some of the companies mentioned earlier on their experiences in Fiji. We greatly value the cooperation and support of our private sector investors to grow our economy, and we are confident that the policies we have in place will ensure long-term growth for your business in Fiji. With those few words, ladies and gentlemen, I look forward to constructive discussions with all of you today, and I encourage you all to actively participate right throughout the day. Big thank you very much, and Abinaka Bakalew.
Vinaka, Honorable